What is going on, everyone? We are back with another reaction. I'm Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
And together we are
HellaDepraved.
And I'm here to see if they're right.
What don't we know about Freddy Kreuger? I'm betting they're wrong.
I'm betting they're wrong too. I'm betting I know.
I want to know. Okay, I'm betting they're wrong about us. However, I want to know if I feel like these are even obscure in the way that most people who have at least seen Nightmare on Elm Street did not know.
Are they like gonna tell us who was originally picked to play Freddy Kreuger?
Or that originally the whole story about his background didn't come out? Or what it was based on?
Like he was originally a kiddie file?
Right. Right. What inspired the story?
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what we don't know.
Is red and green, other than Christmas being a horrendous eyesore of a holiday.
Or why his name is actually Freddy Kreuger.
Right. Right.
These are all things we don't know.
Obviously. We just don't know that we don't know them.
No, I'm excited for this though. And if there is something that I don't know, I'm always excited to learn.
We will give them props.
More new things about my favorite slasher.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. Let's get it.
Freddy Kreuger, the original burned face man. A creepy little fella who loves sneaking into your dreams and absolutely ruining them. And I'm not just talking about pantsing you as you're playing on stage in front of thousands of people, but actually doing that and then stabbing you for good measure as well. Now, you might think that over the years and on repeated viewings that you know everything there is to know about Freddy Kreuger. Well, I'm just going to say, mate, look at the title of this video. Come on, let's go. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.
And
Let's go.
I'm excited. It's Jules giving me the information. Jules is actually one of my favorite people over at WhatCulture.
Okay, all right.
I don't think he does the having a giraffe mate thing anymore, though, which saddens me.
All right. I don't play favorites.
And these are 10 things you didn't know about Freddy Kreuger.
Number
10. Robert Englund came extremely close to not playing Freddy in the sequel. Freddy Kreuger and Robert Englund are pretty much synonymous. He made the role his own time and time again, from Craven's original film all the way through to 2003's Freddy vs. Jason. It's surprising then that at one time the movie executives didn't feel all that strongly about the actor. After the success of the first Elm Street, a sequel was quickly greenlit and Englund believed that he deserved more money, rightfully so, to reprise the role. Both the actor and his agent realized how crucial he was to the role of Freddy, and they figured that New Line wouldn't dare recast the part the way that Paramount did with Jason after every Friday the 13th film. So they indeed asked for way more money to return in Nightmare 2, but New Line was having none of it. The powers that be didn't think that Englund was really all that important to the role, reasoning that anyone playing Freddy is pretty much just a dude under a rubber mask. They ultimately hired a stunt guy to play Kreuger, which had some terrible results, so the studio quickly relented and thankfully paid him what he originally wanted. Number 9.
Some terrible results. I believe that.
I actually had both heard the last one and this one. Now, I say that loosely. I didn't know why he almost didn't play the role.
Oh, I did know that it was for money.
I didn't look that far into it.
But I also... I mean, so here's the thing. In the second film, he's actually definitely on screen way more. So they were also asking him to take a larger part in the script. So it was sort of one of those things that I was like, I really don't feel like that's unfair of him to ask, considering they also made a crap ton off of the first movie. So, but he's not just a man in a rubber mask, as we have proven time and time again.
Right.
9. Jackie Earle Haley almost starred in the original.
If I remember correctly, he was going to be one of the teens in the original.
I don't recognize the name is the problem. I'll recognize the face.
Jackie Earle Haley. He's the guy that played Freddy in the remake.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The 2010 reboot introduced the world to Jackie Earle Haley as the new Freddy.
Right.
And while he did an admirable job, he just wasn't Freddy. It's not his fault. Nobody could match up to Rob. But what many people don't know is that there's long been a rumor that Haley was actually set up to star in the original Nightmare on Elm Street film 20 years plus prior. He was apparently up for the part of Glenn,
Johnny Depp,
which would ultimately be Johnny Depp's first film role. The story goes that Johnny accompanied his friend Jackie on Jackie's audition for the movie. Director Wes Craven saw Depp, asked him to audition, and Jackie went on to do something called the Zoo Gang instead. While other people involved with the film have said that the actor did indeed audition, the overall story may not actually be what it seems. You see, in an interview with Movies Online, the actor explained, "It is possible that I auditioned for Nightmare on Elm Street and don't remember. It's also possible that I could have been sitting next to Johnny in the waiting room. That's the only thing I could figure where that started from. Either way, it's still a pretty big coincidence." Number 8. Robert Englund recently donned his Freddy makeup for the last time for a good cause. Now, for anyone hoping to see old Rob don his Freddy makeup
It's gonna
once...
make me cry.
Well, he's donned it for the last time
for a couple last
for
times,
several
but still,
times
yeah.
now. He did it for a TV show, The Good something. It was a Halloween episode of a sitcom.
Okay.
And I think this time it was for fans at a convention.
Okay.
I
just know that I had read the tagline somewhere that he had done that, but I did know that he had done it at least once before.
And there's already rumors that he might be involved in a new Nightmare movie.
Yeah, he's pretty intent on trying to find who he thinks would be a good replacement, but
Right.
I don't know.
Again, it seems quite unlikely at this point, but a few years back he decided to wear the makeup one final time as he attended a horror convention in the Chicago area called Flashback Weekend. The actor is something of a staple of the convention circuit, but this time he actually showed up as Freddy, and he did it for a really good cause. All the proceeds from the event went towards the Midway Drive-In Digital Fund, a funding drive to buy the Dixon, Illinois Drive-In a digital projector to go along with its 35mm setup. This will help them present more classic horror film festivals as well as work towards the preservation and operation of the American drive-in experience. A trip to the Midway is apparently like entering a time capsule to the 1950s. So why does Robert have such a love for old school drive-ins? Well, apparently he lost his virginity at one, and that sounds like a good enough reason to us. Number 7.
Now, I did not know that. Now,
That is new.
I love drive-ins. I would love them more if they would stop worrying about showing new movies and went back to showing older movies.
Right. I'll agree with that.
It would be a lot of fun to take the kids to like old 80s and 90s horror movies in the drive-ins. Or even, you can even dip back into the 70s if you really wanted to. There's just...
Right.
Maybe have one screen that's always... Because we actually have a drive-in here in Indy.
One that's always oldies, and then maybe one that
But
does
like,
new.
But like have one screen that's always like classic horror movies.
Right. I'd love that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a
People
Tibbs.
are going to want classic rom-coms, though, too. You know it.
People, I'm just talking about what I want.
Right.
But yeah, we have Tibbs Drive-In, which is, it's actually not far from here.
Okay.
I just don't go because I'm always worried about leaving my car on.
Yeah.
Because they don't do the little speaker boxes anymore. You have to switch your car to a radio station and have it playing. And I've seen way too many people have dead batteries at the end of a...
Well, that can happen, or the fumes.
Robert have such a love for old school drive-ins? Well, apparently he lost his virginity at one, and that sounds like a good enough reason to us.
I love the
Number 7,
Baywatch
he has an
swimsuit.
insane Bollywood counterpart. If there's one film industry that can rival Italy when it comes to throwing copyrights and intellectual properties to the wind, it would be Bollywood. The films from this South Asian region are notorious for ripping off other films and plagiarizing everything from plots to music. This was especially a rampant trend in previous decades, as the isolated nature of the Hindi film industry rarely clues include anyone in. Because of this, the Ramsey brothers, considered the kings of Indian horror, were able to beat Platinum Dunes to the punch by 17 years when they ripped off and remade A Nightmare on Elm Street. Dubbed Mahakal, the Ramsey's film introduced Indian audiences to a character ridiculously similar to Craven's dream-stalking madman. In short, have you ever wondered what it would be like if Freddy travelled to India and slaughtered a bunch of young college kids? Well, probably not, but if you're among the 2 psychos that said yes, well, you needn't wonder any longer. This film is all of that and more. It also throws in some local mysticism into the mix for good measure.
I feel called out.
And also, there's a Michael Jackson impersonator as well.
Hell yeah.
It is quite ridiculous. Number 6.
That looks amazing.
Where can I watch this?
That looked quite ridiculous.
Translated. I need it also translated. That looked like it was a lot of fun. For those of you that don't know, we do react to a lot of Indian music. And we've actually been reacting to Bollywood music.
I really feel kind of like...
Called out?
Yeah, like that was very personal. That was personal attack.
I now want to see
the 2 psychos. Okay, you know, like... True.
Right.
True, yeah.
Oh, I don't mean to keep backing it up, though.
Oh, and also, there's a Michael Jackson
I want to see them
as
back
well.
it up.
It is quite ridiculous. Number 6, he once checked George H.W. Bush. Kinda. DC Follies was a short-lived show in the 80s put together by Sid and Marty Krofft that featured satire of politics via puppets. And in one episode, Freddy appears in 3 very odd segments over the half-hour runtime. In the first one, he threatens to murder President George H.W. Bush until it's explained that if he does that, Dan Quayle would be president. Freddy realizes the ramifications and suddenly wakes up from a nightmare, deciding that he'll stick to just terrorizing teenagers instead. Freddy is later shown sitting at a table with a puppet of Tammy Faye Baker, where the 2 realize that they're ultimately very similar. The skit ends with Jim Baker popping in and mistakenly kissing Freddy. And at the end of the show, once all the puppet characters are cleared out, Freddy reflects for a bit. He's feeling a bit low about how he'll only be remembered for a pile of dead teenagers and not for his other talents. Freddy is soon reminded about the time that he sang at Madonna and Sean Penn's wedding, and how there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Soon, Freddy feels better and goes off to maim a cat. Again, it's very weird. Number 5.
He had so many cameos, though.
Everywhere.
Like, I don't feel like that's, like, super weird. And I mean, he was in music videos. He was on talk shows.
He had full-blown segments on MTV.
Yeah.
He had his own TV show. He was fucking everywhere.
He's in cartoons. I mean, like, I don't think that one-off is just, like, peculiar. It's not.
Right.
He once had succulent breasts. In the 3rd entry of the Nightmare on Elm Street series, Freddy takes his dream-stalking skills away from Elm Street to Weston Hills, a psychiatric hospital for the youth. In one of the most memorable moments of the film, Joey, a mute, unaware that he's still asleep,
which actually will not come back again in the series until Freddy vs. Jason.
What won't?
Weston Hills.
Oh, yeah.
is seduced by the beautiful nurse who caught his eye earlier on in the story. The 2 find a place where they can get intimate, and slowly but surely, the nurse reveals herself to the lucky kid. Joey begins kissing her, but then notices her tongue getting inhumanely long. Just then, Joey realizes that this nurse isn't a nurse at all, it's actually Freddy in disguise. Suddenly, in his dream, Joey's bed disappears, and beneath is a gateway to a fiery hell. As disturbing as this scene already is, the uncomfortableness would have been ratcheted up a few thousand notches if it had played out as originally intended. You see, originally the nurse's head would have morphed into Freddy's, so you would have had a topless woman wearing a very convincing Freddy mask extending down to just above her breasts. And they actually went so far as to film it with their actress in full makeup, but ultimately everybody agreed that something about it wasn't right. Number 4, his most iconic line was actually...
Can we put it in as deleted scenes?
The point? Is that not the point, though?
I want to see the deleted scene. Somebody get a hold of fucking Wes Craven's ghost and see if he'll let them put it in a DVD.
Show the succulent breasts. Right? I mean... Yeah, the
actress in full...
Primetime bitch.
Welcome to primetime.
Being is that the line that they're talking about? Being improvised?
That is one that was improvised.
I'm guessing because it says most iconic line. Like, that's the
welcome to primetime,
bitch. The
lead
one that I know is
I don't remember why he did it. Originally, he wasn't supposed to say anything.
He was supposed to say something, but whatever the line was, he said didn't feel
Or it didn't feel like
it
it
didn't
hit right.
feel like it was Freddy enough, and so he put his own Freddy spin on it, and that's how it came out. And Wes wasn't like a huge fan of it.
A lot of this you can find over on Shudder. He does interviews.
Watch as many horror documentaries as we do, and you'll figure it out.
Right.
Makeup, but ultimately everybody agreed that something about it wasn't right. Number 4, his most iconic line was actually improvised. So let's talk about Dream Warriors and turn our attention to what is arguably the best of the worst.
Which, by the way, is my favorite movie all time.
Dream Warriors? Yeah.
Puns ever spoken by Kreuger. And we come to the fate of Jennifer, the aspiring actress in the gang of hospitalized teen misfits, who is having trouble not sleeping and decides to watch a little late-night television by herself in the TV room. Despite putting cigarettes out on her arm in order to stay awake, she eventually falls asleep. While watching the Dick Cavett show on TV, she notices Freddy appear on the screen briefly. She approaches the television unaware that she's dreaming, and as she advances, the TV sprouts arms and Freddy's head appears. The arms lift her off the ground as Freddy leaves her with the immortal words, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." He then slams her head into the TV screen, fatally electrocuting her. As great as it was, the actual scripted line was simply, "This is it, Jennifer, your big break on TV." Robert Englund delivered...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He didn't have that "Welcome to primetime, bitch" as a line when I said he wasn't going to say anything.
Oh.
Because he was always going to say, "It's your big break on TV." But yeah, he just felt it needed
I think it's
something.
it's so much more punchy.
Right.
Yeah.
This is also the movie he started becoming more jokey.
Which they were trying to capitalize on, but I think it was a mix between Wes Craven and the production company wanting to capitalize on it, and England's sense of humor, the very dry but punny sense of humor that created the icon that we have now, which is why it's so hard to replace him.
Right.
Yeah.
Delivered it as scripted the first couple of takes, but then improvised the "Welcome to primetime, bitch." And director Chuck Russell decided to use both the scripted and improvised lines, editing the two together. Number 3, he's a certified porn star. Nightmare on Elm Street has a perfect setup for parody. Freddy comes into your dreams to kill you, so having that tie into the obvious wet dream experience leads to the sweet adult hybrid known as A Wet Dream on Elm Street. The film opens with a young woman dreaming about having all sorts of sex with a very well-endowed gentleman. 20+ minutes later, she wakes up next to Freddy. Some hilarious banter is exchanged as she mistakes him for Edward James Olmos, to which he responds, "Why can't anyone ever mistake me for a burned Brad Pitt?" In a later flashback sequence, the audience is regaled with the story of Freddy, who is now portrayed as a creep who sold sex toys out of the trunk of his car. When his customer base found out that he was overcharging and misrepresenting his products, there was hell to pay. After being burnt from the waist up, Freddy vowed vengeance. So now, several years later, he's back, and he's sporting a 4-dildoed love glove. Okay. Number 2, there is officially a Freddy Kreuger.
I've seen the Love Glove.
I have too.
Yeah. Now, I don't mean that as in I've seen the porno with the Love Glove. I have seen the Love Glove itself.
I've seen pictures of the guy in the porno with the glove.
I think I've only seen pictures of the glove. Yeah.
I've also knew about Freddy Kreuger Day. I don't remember what day it is, but there's a Freddy Kreuger Day.
I did know that.
Kreuger Day. In 1991, when Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare was released, the studio thought that it was indeed the end of Freddy, just the same way that everybody making Friday the 13th: The Final Chapter or Halloween 2 thought that they had a front row seat to the final deaths of Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers respectively. So naturally, New Line went all out to bid their landmark antagonist farewell. In fact, as a sly marketing ploy, New Line got the city of Los Angeles to declare September the 12th, the day before the release of Freddy's Dead, to be Freddy Kreuger Day. It was a way of promoting the city of Los Angeles as well as celebrating Nightmare on Elm Street, which, unlike other notable horror franchises, had filmed every entry of the series in Los Angeles, employing plenty of local labor and returning money back into the area. Now, some folks didn't like the idea at the time. Does that mean you could celebrate by going out and stabbing and killing somebody? Asked the director of the Los Angeles Alliance for Survival, a Venice anti-violence group. Well, no is the answer to that. No, it's still illegal. Come on, dude. Why are you asking that?
It's
and while
not
it's not
the
clear how
Purge.
official this day still is, for horror fans, it's official enough. And number 1, Adam Sandler once derailed a Freddy Kreuger prequel. Now, Adam Sandler's films have been called a great many things.
I did not know this, by the way.
It sounds vaguely familiar. Was it the release of something that he was doing
I don't know.
at the time? Like, I vaguely remember.
Things. Most of them bad, very bad, and not good. But some early ones were decent, but most are not. And you can also add director John McNaughton to the list of the funny man's detractors. You see, in an interview with Bloody Disgusting, the Henry portrait of a serial killer director had some not so nice things to say about Sandler, blaming him for mucking up an exciting premise that he had for a prequel to the original Nightmare on Elm Street, namely that it would be Freddy and his days spent in hell. He said, New Line had just made, what's his name, the comedian that gets so little respect and makes so much money. It was one of his goofy comedies, Little Nicky something or other. There were a number of scenes in hell, and it was his first comedy that didn't do too well. New Line just didn't want to go back to hell, McNaughton concluded, so I basically told them to go to hell. Just the idea of being under the thumb of the studio and being called on to satisfy genre expectations is not something that would make me happy. They were unwilling to go to hell with me, and it just came apart. So if anyone out there is upset that this movie doesn't exist, you pretty much have the Sandman to thank for this. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 things you didn't know about Freddy Kreuger. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Instagram, where it's @RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself well, or at least better than Freddy Kreuger would treat you if he was in your dreams. In fact, I hope that you achieve all of your life's dreams, and I hope that you started each and every day by reminding yourself that you're an absolute ledge, that you deserve love, happiness, and success, and that no one has the right to tell you otherwise, alright? Now go out there and smash it today. I believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak.
Yeah!
That was so sweet after calling us psychos.
He does that actually at the end of every single one of his videos, but it's always a different little...
Right. Well, it was very nice after calling us out on that.
Positive. Jeez. Positive
Believe in
tease.
yourself. Even Vlad the Impaler didn't start impaling people until his mid-30s. You have time for your dreams.
Right. It was enjoyable.
It was.
I love Jules, though. He's always got a good... He knows how to command a video.
Well, I mean, it's always fun to listen to stuff about Freddy, even if we already knew it anyway. And there were a few things in there that I certainly didn't know. Now, do I think that they're necessarily important things? Not really. If I were making a 10 things you might not know about Freddy, I think there would have been some stuff on my top 10 list that would have been like more relevant to actually the knowledge in terms of making the movies make more sense or mean more to you watching them, but you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a good top 10, though.
It was.
I need more stuff like this, WhatCulture. This is fantastic.
Stuff that is intriguing, interesting, horror.
We were actually going to do this a couple days ago, but we did not record that night because we'd already had a days ahead of time recorded. And
so, very nice.
All right, if you guys like the video, slash that like button, subscribe. If not, don't. We don't care. We just hope we made your day a little bit better. And with that being said, it is time to take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.